Okay, so we are in the second phase of free agency. It is March 18th, 2024, just past the 3 p.m. hour, and I've stumbled upon something that I wanted to bring to your attention. And I'm beginning to wonder if this is coincidence that this happened, or is this a Brad Holmes page out of his, masterclass book, if you will, that he did this on purpose. And what I'm talking about is where he is seeking free agents and what teams they have played recently, and the level of experience that they have either with the NFC North and or the current teams on 2024 schedule. As we know, Brad Holmes likes to hand out one-year contracts, and this year's really been no different. I mean, DJ Reader got a 2-year, Amik Robertson got a 2-year, and Carlton Davis got a 1-year here in free agency. Obviously, locking down Graham Glasgow for 3 seasons was probably the most important signing early in free agency to help solidify the offensive line. But where I'm going to focus on is the 3 or 4 most recent, including Marcus Davenport signings that the Lions acquired last week during the opening week of free agency. So I'm going to start with Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson. Carlton Davis played 6 seasons in the NFC North with the Bucs, and Amik 4 seasons in the AFC West with the Raiders. Both have experience with all NFC North opponents in 2023. And what I mean by that is they had games played against the NFC North opponents in 2023 schedule, including other opponents that are on this year's schedule, the Bills and the Colts in 2023. Amik also has experience with the Colts back in 2022. That would include a total of 5 teams, of which the Lions have 8 games against these common opponents in 2024 that both Carlton and Amik have experience with in the last season. What I'm really trying to identify for you, or what I've kind of stumbled across here, is the teams that Amik and Carlton and Marcus and DJ Reader have all gone up against, kind of what I was explaining in the beginning, this last season or the season before. And how does that compare to this year's schedule? So I'll move forward here. So this means to me that with Carlton and Amik, that Jefferson, DJ Moore, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Stefan Diggs, and Trent Sherfield will have a much tougher time in 2024 against the Lions with all of this added experience. When you think about it, Cam Sutton has a full year in the NFC North. Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis went up against all of those players last season, and now they're going to do it again this season. Now, Amik doesn't have any experience within the last 2 seasons against the Bucs, but that is where the Lions will lean on their experience from both games in 2023 and from Carlton Davis, who his former team is the Tampa Bay Bucs, to develop that game-winning plan. Now, before I go any further, let me just throw this out there. The teams that the Lions are going up against this year, it's number one, the home opponents, obviously Chicago, Minnesota, and Green Bay. We also are hosting the Rams, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Titans, Tampa Bay, and the Bills for 9 home games. Our away schedule includes the Arizona Cardinals, Houston Texans, Dallas Cowboys, Indianapolis Colts, San Francisco 49ers, and then, of course, our 3 division opponents in the Vikings, the Bears, and the Packers. So 9 home, 8 away this year in 2024. So while doing some research, I stumbled upon, the schedules and was looking at a few things, and then it started to make sense. And then I'm like, wait a second, this is really starting to add up to what I consider intent. I think that Brad Holmes went out and found guys that have experience playing against the receivers, the offensive lines that the Lions are going to be going up against this season. I really think that there's intent here. I don't think that, he's just going out and finding players that just, best fit the team and the culture. I mean, I'm sure that's all part of it. And, the best players, all of that jazz. But I think he went out intentionally to find players that maybe had good games against these opponents, matched up well against these receivers, has the familiarity with, the division, and or has played games, within these divisions or opponents that we're playing this season that will lend to more experience on the field. Like I said, Amik doesn't have the experience with Tampa Bay, but, Carlton Davis obviously does. He knows the team very well. Davis also has experience, in 2023 against the Jags, the 49ers, the Titans, the Texans, and Amik also has experience in 2022 with the same teams, which means that they will both have experience with Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, all who the Lions, Trevor Lawrence, who they smothered in 2022 anyway, had good experience playing against the Jags a couple of seasons ago. So Davis also has experience against Will Levis, So are you seeing the common theme yet? I mean, these guys have experience with all of the quarterbacks, the receivers, I mean, everything. Now, that is another 4 games that the Lions have additional and recent experience on their side with signing these 2 guys to the team. That leaves just 4 games on the schedule that these 2 corners, Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis, don't have as much recent experience with in 2023, but both of them have experience with them in 2022. The Cardinals, the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Seahawks. Now, obviously, the Lions played the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys in 2023. And nobody is really worried about the Cardinals, or at least just yet, even though I've been on record stating that I believe that the Cardinals will be the 2023 Texans for 2024. So what does all of this mean with these 2 guys? I mean, I think I've said it a few times already. They have a ton of experience, playing experience, actual experience, going up against all but 4 teams in 2023 that we play in 2024. And those 4 teams that they don't have experience with, the Lions just played in 2023. So all of the new additions from last year and the year before all have experience. Let's move on to Marcus Davenport now. Now, obviously, Davenport is coming from the Vikings just after 1 season, and he will have the experience against the NFC North teams. Undoubtedly, he went up against them at least 2 times, each last season. And no, I haven't gone in to look exactly at which games, they played or didn't play. I'll do that later. But Davenport was with his former team, the Saints, for 5 seasons before joining the Vikings, where he regularly had opportunities, 2 times a season against the NFC South teams, the Bucs, the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers. Now, the only one of which the Lions have as an opponent in 2024 would be the Tampa Bay Bucs. So he's got great experience against the Tampa Bay Bucs. Carlton coming from the Tampa Bay Bucs, obviously match made in heaven, right? Now, however, in 2022, the Saints opponents included the Bucs 2 times, of course, the Vikings, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, Rams, and 49ers, which means that in the last 2 seasons, Davenport has experience with 7 teams that the Lions face in 2024, which adds up to a total of 10 games that the Lions now have what I consider to be an edge. You have more experience on the team with the exact teams that you're facing in 2024. Now, by the end of this video, you will understand where I'm going with this. But before I get there, do us all a favor and visit sportspider.com. That is sport, SPYDER.com. If you would like to get all of your news in one place, SportsSpider is the place for you. I promise you, sportspider.com will help you stay in touch with every sport that you're interested in. Check it out today. All right, let's move on to DJ Reader. Now, DJ comes from the Bengals, where we know that he suffered a quad injury in 2023 and in 2020. So the good news is that quad injury in 2023 didn't happen until week 15. So he only missed 1 common opponent game of the Vikings, or he played in it and then obviously got injured. Now, the good news also is that DJ, has this playing experience against a lot of the teams the Lions have on the schedule in 2024. It's the common theme of this video. So coming from the AFC North, this adds another division of experience to the mix. And so far, Davis is from the NFC South, Robertson from the AFC West, and now Reader from the AFC North. In 2023, the Bengals schedule included the Colts, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Seahawks, 49ers, Bills, Cardinals, Rams, Titans, and Vikings. Now, the Vikings, like I said, he went down in week 15 against the Vikings, but he at least went through the game plan, the game prep, and, at least tells me that he knows something of value here. He will remember going through what they were talking about in game prep and how to, utilize that experience in this game this year. Now, in all, that is a total of 10 opponents that the Lions play in 2024, of which 9 games Reader played in. In 2021, Reader earned a playoff and Super Bowl experience against the Titans, Chiefs, and Rams. I threw that in there because it shows that this guy, has some experience, outside of the regular season. He went to the Super Bowl. In 2022, he earned opportunities against the Cowboys, the Bucs, and the Bills, with the Bills game obviously being canceled shortly after it started because of Damar Hamlin's literally life and death situation on the field. Needless to say, though, Reader has a ton of recent experience against the 2024 Lions opponents, and it adds a ton of value, playoff and Super Bowl experience coming from DJ Reader. I guess I should say the same thing about Carlton Davis. I mean, he also 2020 playoff Super Bowl experience, winning a Super Bowl. 2023 playoff experience, as we know, we threw him out of Ford Field with a loss. Well, why is all this important? Like I said, I was going to tell you at the end of this video why it's important. And I think what I'm witnessing and what I'm kind of finding out or maybe stumbling upon, whatever you want to call it, is that maybe Brad is making these calculated pinpoint moves, trades, picking up free agents, acquisitions, whatever you want to call it, that help the Lions get better and be better prepared day one. Haven't even made it to minicamp or OTAs or anything. And these guys are already bringing in experience from their previous teams. Now, I don't know how likely this happens, that you have this much experience of playing the former opponents that are on this year's schedule. It doesn't always happen. Yes, in intra-division trades and that, or acquisitions, yes, you're going to have familiarity with the three other teams that you go against twice a season, 6 games. But this is way more. And these guys played with their teams, for a long period of time. So it seems very calculated to me. I do believe that, the NFL landscape and the player personnel changes are so radical, every single season. It is hard to maintain what I believe would be a narrow window anyway, but it's hard to maintain, having experience with all of these different teams. You're traded, moved around consistently in the NFL. And like I said, there's a narrow window on when you can add players and expect them to be, or expect better than expected results, I guess I should say, due to the common opponent element. And what I mean by common opponent, I don't want it to be confused with the playoff terms. Common opponent means that the player or the teams that they played in the previous season or two that are on the current schedule. Now, adding players that have this relative experience, I believe, has to come within the last 2 seasons. I think that the most recent season obviously is the most important, but I believe, that window is just 2 seasons. I don't think that you can go back 3, 4, 5 seasons because, like I said, the personnel changes. It's so radical in the NFL. Everything changes so quickly from year to year. Rosters turn over 10, 12, 15, 20% year over year. So whether or not Brad Holmes did this on purpose is a question I would love to ask Brad very soon. Or maybe I'm giving away his strategy and he's going to be pissed off. I don't know. Maybe he won't be real happy about, that I'm doing all this research or stumbling across it, then doing the research. So tell me what you guys think below in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what you guys, think about this. And, did I stumble across something here that points to Brad Holmes' direction and focus on how he brings in free agents? Because it's been different, right? We didn't go out and get, that top shelf guy. We get a lot of second tier guys, which I expected. You guys know that. We addressed the concerns that I thought that we would, or the Lions would. And now I'm looking at this a little bit differently, like calculated approach to bring guys in that have a better opportunity to win this year. And maybe that's why 1 year, deals are so prevalent with Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions right now, because they know that schedule is just that year. The next year, it's just back to the division and then wherever else you end up, on the rotation. So I find it interesting, but tell me what you guys think and your thoughts, your comments below in the comments. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.